let's start out with season 3, episode 2. The title is Spanish, so I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll try. It sounds like Caballo sin Nombre. Yeah. So, in the first scene of this episode, Walter was driving on the way to somewhere, and there was a car, a police cruiser driving past him from the opposite direction. But once the car drove by, the police car made a U-turn to pull Walter over, and Walter was very nervous. He told the police officer he was pretty sure he wasn't speeding because he got this cruise control. But the police officer told Walt the reason why he pulled him over was because his broken windshield. So Walter made his explanation to the police officer that that was caused by the falling debris from the collision. And the police officer totally understand what that happened because he was one of the first responder on the scene that day. But he still wrote a traffic citation to Walter. And Walter was just flew into rage because he just faced the situation that Skyler was about to divorce him. So he had a very severe falling out with this police officer, even to say some unrespectful words. So this police officer pepper sprayed him and took him in to the police department. That was the opening of this episode. And on the other hand, Hank was discussed with his colleagues about one of the cases they found on the border. That was the truck being burned and a lot of people being killed in that truck. So his colleagues questioned Hank why he pulled this case over because there were no drugs found in the truck, and this case was supposed to be handled by Border Patrol. That was their responsibility. But Hank told his colleague that he found out that the way this killer or these killers kill this bunch of people was resembled to one of the drug cartel they're chasing for. So that's why he pulled this case over to study it. And he made his conclusion maybe people in the truck may have knew something they should not know, so that's why they're being killed. And after the meeting with his colleagues, Hank got a phone call from Walter, and Walter told Hank he was taken in the police department and need his help. So Hank made his way to the police department and he talked to the police officer in private that about Walter's condition, like he got a health issue, he got cancer, and he was kicking out from his wife, from his own house. So this poor guy, he deserved some slack. He wanted police officer to cut him some slack. And when they got outside to meet with Walter, he was currently handcuffed on the bench outside of the office. Walter made his apology to this police officer about his behavior. So the police officer took his apology and let him go. And when Walter and Hank was about uh, to leave the police department, Walter told Hank Skyler was divorcing him and even not let him to see children. But Hank did not know what to say. He just drove him back to the hotel. Walter back to the hotel. He in the laundry. He met Saul, and Saul told him why he didn't even call him. So Walter told Saul that Skylar knew everything about his cooking, he's doing these drug transactions, and that was a disaster for him. But Saul told Walter there's nothing to worry about because if she told the police officer, that would be a huge blowback for her, such as Hank could be blamed for not catching water under his nose, and the house could be seized by the court, and their children could be looked down in the school. So the consequences were too big to handle for her. So she would never told the police officer that's what Saul said. And Walter told Saul that wasn't really the point because the point was the thing he cared about was all gone. But Saul thought he made a joke to Walter that there was a lot of women out there. So after a certain interval of time, you can seek another woman and to start off. It's a new start. And he also asked Walter to get back to his business, to did what he's good at. But Walter just told Saul he couldn't be the bad guy. And this response really made Saul did not know what to say, and he was about to leave. So he even made a joke to Walter that just promise me don't hang yourself in the closet, and then he left. And in the night, it was dinner time. Hank and Marie they got some takeouts to Skylar's house, having dinner with Skylar and Flynn. And at the table, the vibe was so awkward and strange. So Skylar broke the silence and bring up that Flynn was looking for a part-time job and asked Hank and Marie if they got any news for the part-time job. And then Flynn just interrupts Skylar that why she couldn't even say his father's name, Walter. And he said his name was Walter Jr., did not call him Flynn anymore. And he told everyone that he did not have the heart to watch his father wind up like this, and he didn't understand why his father couldn't even drove him to the school. And at last, he shouted for Skylar that why are you being such a bitch? She even shouted for his mother that she was a bitch. So, and he just got back to his own house, slammed the door. And Hank, he uh he asked Skylar, he knew that wasn't his business, but isn't it wasn't it too much to even keep Walter from seeing his own children? But Skylar just told Hank, you're right, that wasn't your business. So after all that, Hank and Marie was about to leave, and Marie was very curious about what's going on between them too. But Hank just said it's a story as old as time. So the story was Walter stepped out. So that's it. But Marie just thought that there was something more between them, but she couldn't tell what that was. And on the other hand, Jesse drove by his old house, which was his aunt's house, and he saw a sign outside of the house, and the sign said the house was for sale. So he took around the house, and he came across his father. They were doing their work there, and his father told Jesse that he and his mother was doing the renovation and ready to sell the house. Jesse was very excited. He wanted to get back to look around, but Jesse's father did not want him to get inside, and he implied him that this wasn't a good time, but actually he didn't want him to get inside. And Jesse got that. He knew what his father's intention was. So he just chatted a little bit and then left to find Saul. When he got there, he picked up his money and he asked Saul to do a job for him, which is to buy the house in a very low price. So Saul had a meeting with Jesse's parents, and the original price is $875,000. But Saul just threatened Jesse's parents that he knew there was a meth lab in the basement before, and if you refuse to sell us in a price of $400,000, he was going to file charges to encumber the property. So finally, Jesse's parents took the offer. And the next day, when they were waiting outside for the new buyer, they saw Jesse came by. And they thought Jesse was going to break in the house, but Jesse, took out keys from his pocket and showed them and told them that he was the buyer. And that's it. That was this part all about. And on the other hand, Skyler got back to work. He was doing his job. I think she was an accountant or something. And she told Ted she couldn't sign off the report about the revenue unless he can, move some items to the next quarter or something. And Ted thought she's implied and he was about to get back to office to do this revision. And at the time, Skyler asked Ted, "What if his children found out he was doing such illegal things?" And that question really stumped Ted for a few seconds, and he responded Skyler that he did not think that far ahead, but he thought that eventually they will got that because all he did was for them. Even though there was something illegal inside it, I think Ted still thought his children would got that actually eventually. So at the time, Skylar got a phone call from Walter that Walter Jr. was in his hotel, and Walter told Skylar he would take him back to the house. And Walter Jr. asked Walt why he's still helping her after all these things. But Walter just said there's a lot of things going on and it was complicated. But no matter what, he and Holly were always the first priority for either of them, either for Skylar or Walter himself. And when they were about to leave to get back to home, Walter got into the bathroom to get himself dressed on some decent and nice suits and even sprayed some perfume and to buy a pizza. He wanted to take advantage of this chance to make up with Skyler. But when he drove Walter Jr. back to his house, Skyler still refused him to get inside or to have some dinner or to sit down to talk it through. So Walter was very angry and he walked out of the door, he walked out of his own house and he threw the pizza onto the roof and then he left. And the next day he was still very angry and he decided to prepared himself and get all his stuff back into his own house, even without Scudder's, uh, s- without her say so. He still wanted to do this. But when he got back home, he found that the lock has been changed. So he had no other ways to do but to crawl on the repair tunnel beneath the house and to crawl in the house. And by the time Mike finished his installation of wires, yes. But and on the other hand, the twins assassins they made their way to the nursing house to find Hector, their uncle. And one of the twins, checked some board games on the shelves, and he took the alphabet board out and put it on the table and swiped his hand between the alphabets slowly. So when he made his fingers to the right place, Hector just make a ding sound to to indicate the right uh, that was the right letter. So they use this way uh, to spell the name who caused the death of he they use this way to find out the twins use this way to find out who is the one cause death, and that was Walter White. So they made their way to the Walter's house and get inside, sat on the bed on the master bedroom. So and holding the axe and ready for kill him. At the time, Walter was taking a shower. He was showered in the bathroom. So Mike, he was about to leave, and he knew the twins was going to kill Walter. So he made a phone call to Gus, and Gus sent a message to one of the twins. And once the twins got the message, they knew that Gus did not want them to kill Walter because Northern North part North part of America, North part of the border, that was Gus' turf, so he was the boss. So they left, and when Walter finished his showering, he found his clothes on the bed has seems been moved by someone. So he took a look around the house, but did not see anyone in the house. And then that's the end of the episode.